Michigan embedded correspondent John Solberg, and you are listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the really big BBQ Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm Greg Rempe, happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening's live fire fun and frivolity show. If you'd like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at BBQCentralShow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, a first-time guest, a lead buyer for a place called Hartville Hardware, which we will be talking quite a bit about here this evening during the 120 minutes of the most popular live fire barbecue and grilling show out there. But somebody that I think is really a lead when it comes to this thing we call Grillfest, my pal, and the guy responsible for outfitting the Grillzone with the coolest products possible, probably within a multi-state region, Steve McMillan will join the show for the first time. We'll get a little background on Steve. We'll talk about his time at Hartville Hardware. We'll talk about how he outfits said Grillzone, and then we'll spend most of the time talking about the Grillfest, which is coming up this Saturday. Live cooking demos. I've been promoting it the last number of weeks. So we'll get an insider's look at what it's like to put on this kind of event and how you run that balancing act of drawing in a consumer, making them open up their pocketbooks to make it a great bottom line day for you, top line revenues, but also fun, interactive, getting samples. People love free stuff. How do you balance that? And what's the expected output from a exhibitor? All the fun stuff that you want to know about. By the way, don't forget, you want to be out in Hartville this coming Saturday starting, I'll be there around 8:30. Everything gets going, I think 9 or 10 o'clock, and goes all the way till 4:30 as we announce the winners of said barbecue competition. So Steve McMillan first, then 35 past the first hour. Usual third Tuesday of the month regular guest and the founder of CookoutNews.com, Wes Wright, rejoins us to talk about the new news over the last 4 weeks. That'll bring a close to the first hour. Then we'll move to the second hour, where we will find a visit from quarterly guest and somebody who I will see this coming Saturday, by the way, doing live demos for Weber, Mike Lang. Another Pint Please. So we'll see what Mike has on the agenda for demoing, what he might be looking to push out from a sample standpoint as he works the Weber tent in between demos, and what he really likes about what will now be his third Grillfest in a row. And then closing out the show this evening, the first and what many would consider to be only editor when it comes to barbecue over at Texas Monthly, quarterly guest as well, Daniel Vaughn. We talked the lists last week with Robert Moss as he put out Southern Living's best new barbecue joints and listed, I believe it was 21 or 22 on the digital side of things. I think he said it was less on the print side. And Daniel has a new list of his own. So both of these guys known to just give you what they feel is right and then take it on the chin if it is so warranted, or argue if it's not warranted. So that's how the show's laying out here this evening. Steve McMillen of Hartville Hardware and Wes Wright, Cookout News. Second hour, Mike Lang, Another Pint Please, and Daniel Vaughn, Texas Monthly Barbecue. Don't forget you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapper Snaps, and the LinkedIns, all at the handle at BBQ Central Show. And we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show or twitter.com/BBQ Central Show. You can also watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we happen to have a new YouTube poll question of the week, and we're asking everybody this, plus all guests. Have you ever heard of the Grillbot? And currently, 64% of you are saying yes, indeed you have. 36% of you are saying no, you haven't. And I am a bit shocked at this stage of the game. But remember, I have my finger on the pulse probably more than most people do. I'll be interested to see what Steve's response is as we throw him here, or as we throw him in here in a few minutes. Those of you who know of it as of something just recently, I would say this. It's not as new as you think, but things are cyclical in this world, as we know. So I'll leave it as a tease there, but that's what we're asking everybody here tonight, including all guests. Have you ever heard of the Grillbot? Results from last week's poll. Will you be watching Jess Pryle's TV show starting a week from yesterday or September 23rd? And 77% of you said yes, you will be watching Jess's new TV show, if nothing but the launch episode, but a lot of you weighed in after the fact saying that you are in for the next 10 weeks and that you were also very excited to learn that she's already out shooting season 2 before season 1 has even hit the airwaves and gotten any type of acclaim or panning from audience or network. So excited to see how all that plays out for her in the next coming weeks. So we'll start here this evening, and I don't have any room for it later in the show where I've been sticking it. So we'll start here and get you the update. And this is the update. The shirt update. The BBQ Central Show. We'll do it live, and then 24, as in 2024. Feel like the weatherman. Got to go opposites. It's been pretty hot and heavy with the orders, getting emails. How I would like this many. There was a gentleman who ordered 3 XL shirts and then 3 double XL shirts because he said his weight ebbs and flows that much where he needed to get 3 of each size and then account for his bulking or cutting, let's say it nicely, as they say in diets these days. So I appreciate the 6-shirt order. If you want to get your hands on one, all you have to do is send me an email, greg@thebbqcentralshow.com, in the subject line, shirt promo, and then let me know how many shirts you would like to have. If you're just new and you just have to have one of these sweet shirts, and it's this shirt. It's not multiple colors. It's not different sayings. It's none of that bullshit. This is it. So if it's aesthetically displeasing to you, don't order it. Don't ask for any options. No options, only size options, but nothing else after that. So you have to buy into the fact that you like this shirt. So normal sizes which range from small to extra large, $35. Size 2XL, $37. Size 3XL, $39. Size 4XL, $41. And size 5XL, $43. Remember, orders stop being taken at the end of the month. If you do not pay and the month closes, I will email you that you are out. There's no gimmicking around. Again, I'm not floating the boat here, not hoping you make good. You pay up front, and I make the order with everybody that I have paid. By the way, that does include shipping, so it's not additional shipping. So $35 size, small through XL, $37 for 2XL, $39, 3XL, $41, 4XL, $43, 5XL. Includes shipping, ordering until the end of the month. So hurry up. Time is running out. Speaking of time running out, what are you doing when it comes to a great quality grill that is portable enough to take on all the tailgates? Because now we are in the teeth of tailgate season. Last week we were on the cusp of the teeth, and now we are firmly in the teeth. NFL season, college football season, fall ball, softball, you name it, you're going to it, and you want to cook. Might I suggest the Schwank Grill? Certainly we know this thing is a heat monster. Did you know or realize how portable this thing is? You can break it down, you can stick it in the trunk or the back of most vans and SUVs and personal passenger cars. You don't need to have a big truck or anything like that to get it around. Take the propane tank with you and you quickly set it up on a table. If you're a foo-foo tailgater, you can do the high-end steaks, the lobster tails, delicate and expensive fish, getting that restaurant quality sear like they use in Del Frisco's and Morton's Steakhouse, up to 1,500 degrees at the top level. But you can control that heat. Maybe you're just a dogs and burger kind of guy, kind of tailgate. Fine. Drop it all the way back down, get less heat, less intensity. Plus, you can play around with that drip pan, make some dipping sauces if you want, or some resting sauces. If you're doing some burgers, or maybe you're doing those steaks like we had just talked about. You can do wings as well. It cooks everything. It cooks it fast. Gives you great sear if you want it, but you don't have to. Remember that. And ultra portable, and this time of the year, that's what's winning. But you want to save money, and I can do that too. When you use the promo code BBQ Central at checkout, you can save $150 off the Schwank Grill. That's promo code BBQ Central. There's a link in the show notes, the newsletter. You can go to the homepage, click on the Schwank Grill's logo. Many ways to navigate. Just hurry up and use promo code BBQ Central to save money. Steve McMillan is next. Stick around.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com. Your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com to see the products, and then go to Amazon.com or Walmart.com or Lowe's.com to purchase same great products, but even better shipping rates. Good folks over at cookinpellets.com. This comment coming in from Cracks Country Cooking. What about 6XL? No. No 6XL. If you need 6XL Cracks Country Cooking, we need to have a personal conversation on whatever the hell health thing you have going on, because 6XL is not sustainable for the long term, but that's something we can talk about later. Leading off the show tonight, one of the many people who will make the Hartville Hardware Grillfest happen every year, curates all the best brands into a place called the Grillzone, which is a magical place for folks like us. All the rubs, sauces, all the accessories, of course, some of the best grill and cooker brands on the market today. But this weekend is a special grill fest. We'll talk about that and what you can expect if you show up this coming Saturday, September 21st. We welcome our first-time guest and buyer for Hartville Hardware's Grillzone, Steve McMillen. Steve, appreciate you joining the show here this evening. Before we get going and talking Grill Fest, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, and it's this. Have you heard of the Grillbot? Yes or no?
I have heard of the Grillbot, probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Have you sold the Grillbot in Hartville?
I have not.
Thank God. Wow. Well, I started getting a whole bunch of posts within the last few weeks saying, oh, have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen this? And I'm thinking to myself, I saw this 10 years ago when it first came out. And after everybody bought it, and then everybody left it in their grills because it tells you to just put it on the grill after you're done cooking and putting through its cycle. Well, nobody ever opened the lid back up again before they lit the grill again, and then they cooked their grill bots the next time around.
Oh, nice plastic.
Yes, so not a
good
good
for
way
the flavor.
to go. Maybe people have forgotten about it and decided that it's time to circle it back. Maybe they had a little more check your grill again before the next time. Who knows? But that's nonsense. Before we talk about Grillfest, Steve, what's your background? Are you always tied in with Hartville, or have you done something before that?
I did have a life before Hartville, but I've been with them 21 years.
Wow.
So that's about when my live fire journey started. So we've been doing this for 21 years. Always been involved in grilling, outdoor living, seasonal. So that's what I love. Grilling is the fun part of my job. So
being the buyer for quite a sizable Grillzone area, there are, I would say, few retail spaces like this in the greater Cleveland, Akron, Canton area, just in its close proximity, probably further than that. How do you decide which things to bring in to sell in the Grillzone?
A lot of it's just intuition. What I think is going to sell. Sometimes we get it right. Sometimes not so much. I've made some mistakes, but we learn from those. We go on, and luckily I've hit a lot more than I've missed. So it's been good to see the evolution of what's happened in the last 20 years. How far we've come. So, and the things that have changed, the things that haven't. So,
is it a constant barrage of people just hitting Steve up and going, hey, I have a brand new grill, or I have a brand new accessory, or a line of rubs and sauces. How do I get in?
Yeah, a lot of that. We've gotten into a lot of local rubs and sauces guys. Actually, a couple of the guys that have won the Grillfest competition in the last couple of years have come out with their own line, and some of them have done really well. So we've done that. We've expanded that area tremendously over the last 3 or 4 years. Rubs and sauces have really gone big. So we've done that. New grills, new styles. Griddles are still hugely popular. Pizza ovens took a little bit of a dip this year, but they're still really, really hot. So those are probably the 2 biggest categories that we've had. So
this is a special anniversary coming up this Saturday, September 21st, when in regards to the Grill Fest. How many Grill Fests are we in after it's all said and done?
This is number 10.
Wow.
This is number 10. And this started out with me cooking on the patio on 3 different grills at the same time. And we've progressed to this where we'll probably have about 5,000 people there on Saturday. We'll have competition with 21 different amateur chefs are going to be there competing. We'll have 4 influencers, professional chefs that are going to come and do exhibition cooking for us, show us how it's done on all the major appliances. And new this year, we have Matt Frampton from Urban Slicer is going to be cooking pizza for us on stage. So he studied in Italy, and he's quite a good guy. So that's going to be awesome.
Is there a singular person credited with coming up with Grillfest? Is that a Steve McMillan brainchild, or was there like a number of meetings and like conceptualizing? There's something maybe we should do, but we just don't know what to wrangle it up as.
To be honest, we started off with Egg Fest. We wanted to have an Egg Fest, but then we wanted to include other brands. So we graduated to this. So it really was 10 years ago was my idea. So yeah, I'll take credit for that.
If you're going to be a patron showing up this coming weekend, aside from the live demos, we can get into those a little bit more specifically if you want, but what can somebody expect if they show up? And then perhaps a better question is, how much time should one allot to spend there? Is it something where you would go the balance of the day, or is it something where you want to make sure that you're experiencing this whole thing? Because it is quite substantial once you get in. I mean, the store itself, if you've never been, substantial in its own right, and then you put on this event out in front of it, and it almost feels like it's doubling the size.
It is. The store is 300,000 square feet, so there's plenty to do. If I was going to tell my friends to come, and they were really into live fire cooking and wanted to learn all about it, I would tell them to show up at 10. And then 3 o'clock is going to be our judging to see who wins the competitor, the amateur competitor. We have great prizes and trophies for that. So, there's going to always be something to do. Come hungry. There's going to be plenty of food to eat. All the big names are going to be cooking. All the different vendors that are going to be there are all going to have samples. You're going to learn a lot. We've got great deals. I've got some just unbelievable deals coming this way. So it's going to be a day to come. All accessories in the Grillzone are made 20% off that day.
Oh, wow.
Which is huge. We're doing 10% off pizza ovens. We're also doing special packages on all of our grills that you'll get if you buy a grill that day. And the specials are only one day, so you got to be there on Saturday. And it's going to be beautiful weather. Great time to come.
Who are we looking at from a live demo experience?
So BBQ is kind of our anchor. So she's coming up from Florida. She's going to be on the exhibition stage at 10 and 1. She cooks on a Traeger. Just does a great job. She's just a sweetheart. We love her.
Oh, super great.
Yeah, we have Matt Frampton, who I mentioned is going to be cooking. He's has his own line of pizza dough. Just add water pizza dough. So he's going to be cooking on uni and gazini. He'll be on the main stage showing us his pizza skills. He's a great guy too. He was there. He came last year, but did not. He was not on the stage. So we've made a point to get him on the stage this year. We have Mike Lang, who is from Cincinnati. Another great guy. He's going to be cooking on a Weber and showing us what he can do with that. Unfortunately, we just got news today that Captain Ron out of Florida, who was supposed to come up, is in the hospital. He's got pneumonia.
Oh, no.
So super sad about that. So we're finding somebody that's going to try to fill his shoes on the green egg. So we're scrambling to find that. So we'll find somebody to fill his shoes on the green egg. But that's going to be our lineup on the exhibition stage. So
wow, our BBQ, Matt Frampton and Mike Lang all booked at this point, and then scrambling to backfill Captain Ron if possible. But he was great last year, with great interaction.
Oh, he was awesome.
Him.
So
yeah.
Sending out love to him. Hopefully he gets better soon and gets back onto it.
How do you work through the balance of providing a great spectator experience while also trying to get great retail sales for the Grillzone?
It's a balance. I got to tell you. And we start meeting in January. We'll have our first meeting for next year. So, and it's just a collaboration. We got a great team. I can't say enough good about the people that I work with. We've got everybody's on the same page. We play hard, we laugh hard, and we work hard. And it takes a great team to put all this together. But that's the one thing is, I want everybody to have a good time, but I want to sell things too. That's what we're in business for. So I look out and find some great deals, and like I said, we have some great deals, some stuff I can't really talk about, but you're going to want to come and check it out.
We have a question in the instant chat from Aaron Huntelman is asking for a hint on the black box. So always looking to get the edge is Aaron, but there is a black box component to the competition.
Sure. So black box is kind of a riff on Chopped. So it was actually BBQ's idea a couple of years ago to come up with this. So, because once the competitors start, it's kind of boring in the competitor tent. So they start. So this year they're doing ribs. They get a slab of ribs and they get 2 steaks, and they have all day to work on it. There will be guys there at 7:00 in the morning. And like I said, turn in is at 3:00. So they'll be there all day, but it's kind of boring during the day. So we came up with this idea. BBQ put this idea in my head, and we ran with it, where we give them, it's literally a black box. And Aaron, just to give you a little fill in, last year was way too easy. So I'm not going to give you any hints, but this year it's a little more challenging. So it's not chicken livers and pork hearts, but it's going to be a little more challenging. So, but when we set out to do all this, and me and a couple other guys, Titus and Tyler, we sat down and we figured out what we were going to put in, and we came up with these ingredients. And then all of a sudden it hit me like a ton of bricks that, hey, this is great, but I've got to be a judge and sample this stuff. And that's going to be interesting. So we'll see how that works out. So,
how is the competition split up? You had mentioned there's 21 teams. I don't want to just tell everybody. I want to afford you the opportunity to do that, but it's a fairly unique competition in its own right.
Right. So we have 7 people cooking on a Weber, 7 people on a Traeger, and 7 people on a Green Egg. So like I said, they can come at 7:00 in the morning, and we'll get people there. There'll actually be people waiting at 6 a.m. To get their proteins. So they'll be there ready to go, and they can do whatever they want to them. They can add things to them. They can do whatever they want. Last year was kind of spicy, so hopefully this year is not going to be quite as spicy. It was. I know BBQ, her mouth was on fire, so hopefully it's going to be a little less so this time.
If you look back over the past 9 years, is there one of the manufacturers that has reigned supreme over the others, or at least had a majority win over 9 years?
Traeger always does well. So, but I always say it's not the equipment, it's the chef. You should be able to cook on anything. If you got the skills, you should be able to do it. But and the black box that we were talking about, that's 25% of their score. So they turn that in. Wow. It's going to be a surprising time. They have no idea when it's coming, and they've got a half an hour to make we'll just call it a cohesive dish out of those. There'll be 6 ingredients in that box, and they have to use all 6. They can add if they want to, if they so inclined. If they want to add something to it, they can, but they have to use all 6. But the score on that, the score on that box is 25% of the total score.
Wow.
So that's a pretty big influencer. That really, you can practice your ribs and practice your steak all summer long, get ready for it, but you have no way to get prepared for this. And there's only 3 people on this planet that know what's in that box, and I'm not telling. So, well, at least not unless you throw sackfuls of cash at me. I might give you a hint.
Yeah, that's right. So, well, I'm fresh out of sackfuls of cash. Otherwise, we'd be letting the cat out of the bag here this evening. Last year, I remember a number of teams racing to turn in the black box. That was the first year. And one of the teams tripped, and his turn-in went all over the street. Yeah. And all of a sudden, he's down 25%. So we should warn everybody, be careful on turn-ins. Give yourself some time. You raced, and you could lose before you even lost.
What I wanted to do was, if you watch Chopped, that's what they do. They rush to the table. We didn't take into account there'd be hundreds of people in the way. So this year we're not going to we're not going to do that. We're going to collect the boxes and make it a little more orderly. So I felt super sorry for that contestant last year. That was bad.
He looked at me and he's like, "Oh, I tripped." I said, "Don't trip next time. How about that?" And sent him along his way. From a demoing standpoint, Steve, how do you said Diva was the anchor, so obviously the continued invitation to come back is probably standing, and it's up to her to take or not. But outside of that, how do you curate the demo talent? What matters most to you?
First of all, you got to be able to cook. You got to be able to bring it. But the second thing is you got to be able to talk. You got to have that stage presence, because we've had a couple of people that were on stage that we brought in that could cook really well, but didn't know how to use their mouth. You know who I'm talking about.
Sure.
And there was one that was kind of inappropriate too. So it's kind of a fine line, but I got to tell you, last year's lineup was the best. So it's just super sad that Ron can't make it with us this year, but I think we found the sweet spot. I think if all these guys continue to come back, I think we really got the sweet spot. So,
all right, give us day and time, and if where we can go to find out more information if we want to.
So it's this Saturday. Really, everything starts kicking off at 10 o'clock. So Diva goes on stage at 10. You can come get food. There's going to be food everywhere. Everybody cooks breakfast, and then they'll cook lunch for everybody. And judging for the contestants starts at 3 o'clock. Pretty much about 4 o'clock, it's going to start wrapping up. The sales still go, but as far as contestants and stage presence and all that's over. So best way to get more information is just go to our website, which is hartvillehardware.com, HARTVILLE hardware.com.
And as we're waiting for the results to be tallied, I will be perusing the crowd with a fresh list of assurity questions, true-false questions, demo talent, true-false trivia questions, and there's prizes to be given out. So, last year it was gangbusters, and I have a whole new list of stuff to make people either feel really smart or really foolish with. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well.
Well, and we got some great prizes for you to have out too. We're not giving out Coca-Cola koozies or anything like that. This is we got some good prizes for you. So I think you'll be excited. So because it is our 10th anniversary, so we wanted to kick it up a couple of notches. So it'll be good.
If you're around the general area, might I impress upon you the importance it is to come and experience me in person, number one, and then see Steve in person, 1B, and then everything else is going to be happening on Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Steve, appreciate the time here this evening, and so looking forward to seeing you again on Saturday. You got it.
You bet. It'll be fun.
There's Steve right there. Too bad about Captain Ron, but don't let that deter you. If he was somebody you were really looking forward to seeing, Danielle will be there, Matt Frampton, a great ad, and Mike Lang as well. And we'll talk to him here in the second hour and do a little bit more hype on Hartville Hardware. Josh Leonard is in the instant chat through Facebook. He's excited. He's the cook. You won it last year, right, Josh? Aaron Huntelman is in, obviously, looking for all the cheat details. Aaron was a winner in previous years. And also, where did he go? Steve Vetter. Yeah. Look at all you guys. Gordon Thompson. That's the guy I was looking for. All folks that will be back at it. Andrew Barnhart in the chat. He's from Flip Grill. He'll probably be there as well, showing his Flip Grill. So hurry up. Make sure that you have plans to come down to Hartville Hardware. Take part in the 10th annual Grillfest. Holy crap, 10. In Grillfest number 1, I actually competed in ribs. I did not win. Dr. Barbecue was a judge back then, and a demo cook, if I'm not mistaken. Looking forward to it this Saturday. It's going to be fun. Wes Wright is in the green room before we get to him. talking to you about Pits and Spits. Are you tired of settling for mediocre grilling experiences? It's time to step your game up and bring the ultimate flavor and cooker to the backyard barbecues. Pits and Spits charcoal grills, offering the highest quality live fire cooking experience you can get in the market today. Using either wood or charcoal, their solid fuel grills produce those classic flavors you're looking for when you have the time to fire up the grill and cook for family and friends. With a large adjustable fuel tray, you can raise and lower the fire to control and fine-tune the heat. They're taking the very popular Santa Maria style grill. Check them out online, pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. That's pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. And when you're checking out, to save $150 off any charcoal grill, you can use the code Charcoal Central, all one word, Charcoal Central. And again, you save $150 off any charcoal grill. The website, pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. And while we will talk about it with Wes Wright here in the next segment, I might add, if you are on the hunt for a high-level, standalone griddle, marine-grade quality stainless, Pits and Spits has just come out with that as well. So go to pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. Check out the charcoal grills, Charcoal Central, for $150 off that grill. And then also peruse the new flat top that they've just released earlier in the week. Maybe it was the end of last week. One of those. Anyway, Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com joins us next. Stick around. I'll be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the BBQ Central Show.
All right, welcome back. We thank Steve McMillan for joining us last segment from Hartville Hardware. This segment brought to you by Fireboard, makers of Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, Fireboard Beacon, the new Fireboard Pulse, of course. When you use a Fireboard app, you now have total access to all your devices wherever they are in the world. You can see it right there. You can make adjustments if you need to. You can find out more by visiting fireboard.com, or you can call with questions 816-945-2232. My next guest tonight runs cookoutnews.com, the website, and the third Tuesday of the month you find him here talking about the latest barbecue and grilling news over the past 30 days or so. We welcome back our pal Wes Wright to the show. All right, Wes, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody. Have you ever heard of the Grill Bot? Yes or no?
I think so. Yes. Is that the thing that you put in the grill that cleans it?
That's the one.
Yeah, I've seen it advertised, and it's I can't see it working well. I don't know how you would get enough pressure on there.
I just had the head buyer for Hartville Hardware, which is a huge 300,000 square foot hardware store here in Hartville, Ohio. And I asked him if he even thought about bringing a product like that in. And he said, no, he had passed on it 5-6 years ago when it had originally come out, when people were burning them up, and decided that was probably more gimmick than not, and has passed on it. You're just seeing it for the first time, or do you recall it being around in its first life?
I don't remember from back then. I saw like an Instagram ad, I don't know, a few months ago, 6 months ago, and I just thought it didn't look like it would work very well. But they must be going a second run at it if they're advertising it. 56%
of the YouTube voting public has heard of the Grill Bot before, and I'm not sure how many know first life versus second life, but irrelevant. And I agree. I don't know. When you look through the sheer amount of stuff available for live fire cooking, does this really rank right up there with most gimmicky stuff?
Yeah, it's got to be one of the most gimmicky things out there. It's like a Roomba for your grill. It's not, it's not very, your grill is not very big, and you need a good amount of force to
knock all the charred bits off. So I just can't see somebody seeing that and saying like, yeah, this will save me literally like 2 minutes of time.
And it's $100, right?
I don't know.
Or
I don't know
$80
price.
or $90. I mean,
Yeah.
anything more than $20 seems like a waste to me with something like that.
Yeah, I bet if you had for $20, I bet you could pump them out. People would just buy them. Why not? It's $20. But yeah, once you get close to $100, that's an investment.
We have some new items to talk about here since last time that we convened. Pits and Spits, as I had mentioned during their read, is now in the freestanding griddle/grill market. So from what you've seen and the research you've done, I don't know, maybe if you've talked to Ryan or whatever, he's going to be coming on the show here in a couple of weeks to talk about it. But your thoughts on what you've seen so far?
I think it's really cool. I've been waiting for it for a while because he mentioned it on your show a good amount of time ago. So I'd been waiting for it to come out. It looks, like I'd expect from Pits and Spits. It's thick stainless steel everywhere, semi-pneumatic wheels so you can move it around. I want to say it's 345 pounds, of steel. And I think it's funny because the size of the company makes it so they can innovate when people would think like a small company isn't innovating like the big guys. But I think it's neat how you can take the griddle portion out and turn it into a grill. I think that's cool that they did that. And, so they have a lot of neat features, and just the overall quality of it is, I think there's definitely people that like it.
You've probably answered this question just now, but as you look at the market, do you think it's a good idea to have a unit that is both? Would it not behoove them to be just a standalone griddle in addition to the one they're releasing? You take the griddle top off and now you got a gas grill underneath it. Or do you think other standalone griddle makers should have taken a page out of the Pits and Spits playbook and made something that was dual function?
Yeah, I think other griddle makers should take a look at it because it's just kind of the opposite. There's a lot of gas grills now that come with a griddle option that you can drop in and place your grill grate. So it's kind of just going the other way where seems like it's advertised as a griddle, but you can make it a gas grill. I think the only thing that you'd want to look at it is I'm curious where the grease clean out is, because that's when you go the other way and you start with a gas grill and then the ones that you drop griddles in. I've seen before where the grease just goes like right by the burner, which always kind of scares me a little bit. But I think I think it's a good idea what they're doing because it saves you space and you get two functions in one.
Do you have any idea how much the griddle top weighs? Like how easy is it to yank out and make it a grill or then replace to make it a griddle?
I bet it's pretty heavy because
Yeah.
it's I think it was it like 6 gauge stainless. It's like 3/16, 3/8. I don't remember what that translates to, but yeah, that's pretty hefty. I'd be curious what the weight of just that is, which you need like a really hardy griddle top. So, but yeah, it probably work your back out a little bit swapping it out.
Also, just for point of note here, where everybody else is using the traditional steel griddle top, this is stainless steel griddle top. And when you talk to the most elite griddle masters like George Moats, some of the guys at that level, when they open up their restaurants, they weren't putting in steel griddles. They were putting in stainless steel griddle tops. And so this is almost, maybe not even almost, this is a professional grade griddle versus what you would get on commodities products otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. It's a premium feature for sure. And it's just nice that, everything on that griddle top to bottom is stainless, beyond the cooking properties of it, and the superiority of it. Just the whole thing is just built to last.
Is $4,000 too much for an everyday ham and egger to spend on a combo griddle and gas grill?
I bet you they're targeting a little upmarket, which they do with their other smokers too. Like I want to say even their cheapest Maverick pellet grills, like I want to say $2,500, $2,400, something like that. So they targeting more of like the outdoor kitchen crowd, to be able to afford that. What's funny though is they release at a higher price point, and then it seems like everything else in the market gets more and more expensive. And then you look at Pits and Spits, and you're like, oh, that's not so bad actually.
Do you think we will see more gas grill options down the line now that there is officially one on the market for Pits and Spits?
Yeah, if you're a griddle company and you see that and see people like it, I don't know why you wouldn't try to emulate it. I'm actually surprised that no one else has tried to do that.
Do you think Pits and Spits will make different size gas grills now, or that's probably not a good idea?
I think they had a note on there that you can get it in a 3-burner too. So they do offer it in 2 different sizes. You just have to contact them. So I doubt they'll get much smaller than a 3-burner though. A 3 and 4 I think are pretty good options.
Let's switch to Char-Broil for a second. And you had written a story recently about the potential of Char-Broil developing an electric grill that can also use charcoal. What do you know about that?
Yeah, there was a trademark filing called electric to coal. And for any Char-Broil fans out there, they know that Char-Broil has gas to coal for a lot of their gas grills. So what it is it's, some steel trays that you can pull out your cooking grates, drop those in, fill it with charcoal, and then, fire up your burners, and you can cook with charcoal. You're probably not going to do like a slow smoke for, 16 hours on it, but it's a way to, grill and get some extra flavor. So using that same name designation, that would make me think they're kind of trying out that idea of bringing that to an electric grill, which is, to me, a really interesting idea and should help them with marketing it to people that might be hesitant.
When you think we could see it? Is this like a next spring thing, or still got a ways?
I don't know. I think it probably has a little bit of ways. I think what they're doing with electric grills though is kind of neat. I think it's a thing where they just keep getting them better and better and iterating on them, and then some time will go by. I think not a lot of people are going to notice it. Then all of a sudden people will be like, oh, this is a pretty cool grill that it does all this stuff, not realizing all they've gone through, so I would say within the next couple of years, if they come out with it, I would expect to see it.
Now we're going to talk about Ninja. No Names Please sent me this, and I don't know if you've seen it or not. You got your finger on the pulse. You ever seen this thing? Hybrid,
no, I have not.
Hybrid power, electric plus propane, turbo air grill, wood fire smoke, and rotisserie roaster. Here's the tag that I love: controlled propane heat, electric powered turbo air. So it feels like it's getting heat from gas, but it's also an air fryer at the same time. But it's not gas grill with the attached air fryer. Now it's everything rolled up into one. Like Next Grill almost had it, but they didn't marry them and make it have a kit.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like RoboCop, if I'm being honest. But it
does, especially the side.
Yeah, it looks like its helmet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen that actually. On the sides though, it looks like, I'm guessing that's like the wood pellet holder, kind of like they put on their wood fire electric grill they have there.
Is this like over here you're talking about?
Yeah. So I bet you that is that, and then on the back is the fan that blows it through. I'd be interested to see what like the cooking grates and everything look like on there, because I don't know. I don't think Ninja loves me too much, because I kind of gave a mediocre review to their wood fire grill that they sent me.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah, because it kind of cooked like a George Foreman, it had that like really weird nonstick surface. Mm-hmm. And then also with that pellet side, there's a heating element in there, and then the air just blows through there. It works good as like an air fryer, but with what I found using the pellets is it's just like blowing ash all throughout your grill. So like you'd cook ribs and it's like pure conductive heat because it's right on the heating element, and they'd be black in like 2 hours. And just like off-putting, so that I didn't love that. So I'll be curious, what the cooking grate looks like. if how they combine all that, and they.
The only other thing that I can't figure out from this picture, the cabinetry is kind of giving it away for me, I guess, but this just doesn't seem big. Like maybe it's a tabletop unit. I don't know Ninja to be a full-size grill manufacturer that we've seen before. So, again, the cabinetry kind of gives me some feels like it might be full-size, but if it is, this would be the first that they've put into the market that is something that can be standalone and that isn't going on a tabletop.
Yeah, even that wood fire grill they made before, they made like an XL version, but it's still pretty small. So yeah, the scale of that could be interesting. I can't imagine it being overly large, but yeah. So I think you're right about that. I mean, people love some Ninja products. I have a blender I like by them.
That Ninja outdoor oven that you were just talking about, Maddie and Kiki use that all the time. They're big fans of it. You know Maddie and Kiki?
Your daughters?
No, that's Maddie, and Maddie is one of my daughters. I don't not have a daughter named Kiki. They're the Canadian sister duo that they do the live cooks, and I mean, they have a pretty significant social following, and they're supported by some of the bigger brands, both American and Canadian. They've been around a long time. I kind of wondered what they were all about in the beginning, but probably going on a decade worth of work. But they're huge fans. In fact, they had a techno song released. Did you hear the techno song?
I didn't.
Oh, here, I got it right here. Oh, wait a second. I don't have it. Damn it! All that lead up, and I didn't check the file, and it's corrupt. Yeah, I have. Maybe next month, if you can remind me, I'll make a note on our shared doc to play the EDM Maddie and Kiki song. But the truth is, though, they do use it quite a bit. They obviously are supported in some way by Ninja, so they're probably not going to take a dump on it. But the food that they turn out looks appetizing.
Yeah, I like. Also, I think they're called the Grill Dads. Is that somebody?
Yeah, the Grill Dads.
Those people.
Yeah. Also,
yeah, they
supported.
were. Yeah, also supported. And when I was at the National Hardware Show 2 years ago, and that Ninja Grill just came out, they had like a big display, and they were really hyping it, and they had music playing. They were passing out food, and they cooked on it for the event I was judging. And the food tasted decent. If you're doing like hamburgers or something like that, I think they're probably pretty good. I just wouldn't. Like they advertise it like you're cooking barbecue and replacing, your smokers. And I just don't think that's quite true. If you want to just cook it like on a George Foreman grill, it's great. And maybe add some flavor if it's a quick cook. I wouldn't do anything slow on it though.
I saw those guys on QVC cooking all kinds of barbecue in there. Live shot, and one of the guy with the beard, not Mark, but Fez or whatever his name is, he went into the table with his finished brisket off the Ninja and just threw it right on the floor at live television. He was very professional, and he got like right out of it. It was very bizarre though. So, all right, now I might have fixed it. This is the Maddie and Kiki EDM song.
Okay.
You didn't hear that on BPM on Sirius XM?
No, that's a mix of Skrillex and somebody saying "okay"
Yes.
over and over again.
Yes, that's right. Little bangarang, but it's way more involved. Stover will be very happy I played that. Anything coming up over the next 30 days we should be paying particular attention to over cookoutnews.com?
I can't think of anything too close on the horizon. I will say, and this, I haven't wrote an article, and I probably won't because I don't have a ton of information, but Weber did file a trademark for the Weber Smoke, SMOQUE, for a future smoker. So I don't know if that's their next pellet grill or what, but I'll be curious. So look out for something about that.
All right, let's guess. Why not? We have one more minute left. What do you think the Weber Smoke would be? I have a guess too, but you go first.
I think it'll be a pellet grill, just another pellet grill that's maybe higher end than the sear wood.
Electric smoker.
Oh, could be.
They're going to battle GE for electric smoker supremacy. Something maybe indoors. That's what I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe we'll never see, but maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll ask Mike
Yeah.
Lang. He's connected into Weber. Maybe he's got some insider trading info that he can scoop us on. Who knows?
Yeah. I want one year to come out and see you guys at that hardware store. Now, this weekend I have a wedding I can't get out of, but one year I'm
Screw
gonna make it out
weddings.
there.
Those are worthless. Come out here Saturday. I mean, it's only a couple hours. It'll be gangbusters. I'll introduce you to all the celebrities. We can have cigars after the fact. It'll be great.
Yeah. It sounds like a cool event. I always like
yeah.
seeing it on Instagram. Maybe next year, though.
All right. Year 11, we'll start making plans for it. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right. Wes Wright can be found at cookoutnews.com, and he can be found right here on the third Tuesday of every month, 35 past the first hour. Wes, always appreciate the time, and we'll see you in October.
Sounds good. Thanks, Greg.
Wes Wright, right there, cookoutnews.com. All right. We are on top of it. I think I might be right with my Weber guess. Inside, they've commanded the outdoor space. Now let's move indoors. Indoor grill smoker to compete with the GE, which, by the way, you heard a lot about January, February, March, April, and now it's really petered out. What do we love about ceramic cookers? I love that they're fuel efficient. I love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats, or I can get them rip-roaring hot if I want to do some high-temperature grilling. But you know what's missing in the everyday ceramic cooker lineup? The ability to do two-zone cooking, because most of these things are rounds. Well, Primo said forget about it. We're going to change the game. We're going to make this thing oval, and now we can really set it up for two-zone cooking. It's also accessory laden. Again, rule number 1 of the show, no names, please. I've heard there's going to be a lot of cool accessories that are going to be coming out here over the next 12 to 16 months. I don't have any idea what they are specifically, but I do believe that there is a sheer volume to really step it up. So now's the time to get hooked up with a Primo. Don't wait. Only sold through dealers. Find one near you, primogrill.com. Visit the dealer and then buy the oval that fits best for you. I recommend the XL or the double XL. Nobody's ever complained about buying big. Nobody. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram. It's primogrill.com, and we're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Wes Wright for joining us last segment. He loves it. This guy is giving you month to month some of the best information in the business of barbecue. Finding hidden filings for trademarks and patents and all this other stuff. Nobody doing it better in the business than Wes Wright is currently. Cookoutnews.com. By the way, sign up for his newsletter, which is called the Weekend Refuel, I believe. And if you happen to miss going to the website during the course of the week, Saturday morning you wake up and you see you have the Weekend Refuel in your inbox, and you can catch up on what's happened over the past week. Usually I get a mention every once in a while as well. Absolutely, always after an appearance, so I'll be on there Saturday. But usually other times when he's not made an appearance. Andrew Barnhart is weighing in. Greg, weddings are great. Be nice. We do want Wes to come to Grillfest, though, faux show priority. Screw weddings, Andrew. Come on. Biggest money gram ever. Money grab. Biggest money waste. Who are we kidding? Look at the statistics. Anyway, we're pointing to the second hour. Refresh your libations, and we'll get a poll update when we come back. You are listening and watching the BBQ Central Show right here on the BBQ Central Network. Stick around. Be right back.
This is Stover, the barbecue hunk. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Have a hunky day.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to. Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Char-Bono! It's all about the Char-Bono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the BBQ Central Show, where we talk about the most important items in the barbecue and grilling world today. If you're just tuning in, no problem. You've missed a great first hour. You missed Steve McMillan talk about Hartville Hardware coming up this weekend, the 10th annual Grillfest, which I will be hosting. So make sure that if you're around Hartville or make plans to be around Hartville, Ohio, this coming Saturday, stop by Hartville Hardware and eat and drink and make merriment. You can also see BBQ live cooking and Mike Lang live cooking and Matt Frampton live cooking and no Captain Ron anymore. He's got pneumonia. I'd be interested to see if they decide to backfill. This is the first time, or would have been the first time, that Grillfest had 4 live demos. It's always been 3. Diva does 2, and then Weber does 1, and Big Green Egg does 1. Diva top notch. She can pull 2. But this would have been the first time that there were 4. But good to see that there is a change in the live setting. And Matt Frampton, who I call the Pizziola to Pizziolis. Is that right? Yeah. The Pizziola the Pizziola the Pizziolis. The boss of bosses, Capo de Capi. The Pizziolo the Pizzioli will be live on stage this coming Saturday. I suggested, by the way, that for as much credit as Steve is getting for the black box, I told Steve, you should have this Matt Frampton out. He is the pizza expert of the country and perhaps the world. And he would do really good in a live setting. Guess what? Here he is. Good for me. Go for you. The show originating from
Palm City, USA. Cleveland.
Still to come on the show this evening, Mike Lang from Another Pint Please in about 11 minutes from now. And then closing out the show, Daniel Vaughn from Texas Monthly, tmbbq.com, his website. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platform partners. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show or twitter.com/BBQ Central Show. You can also watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show. And we have a new YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody about. Have you ever heard of GrillBot? And 58% of you are currently saying, yes, you have heard of GrillBot. Cracks Country Cooking is asking, what about a Primo 6XL grill? I say yes. And everybody, can I get a oh yeah?
Hey, everybody, can I trouble you for a oh yeah?
Give me that 6XL immediately. I mean, the double XL is pretty big. It's 25% bigger. Oh boy, am I going to do math? 25% bigger than the XL, which means 3 times bigger is 6XL from the double XL, and that's 25. That's 75% bigger. Am I right? Shamo! I don't know if I'm right. Can somebody double check the math? Can you fact check my math? I'm really good at math. Some of the best. Coming up on the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, episode 351. Taking you back to September 22nd of 2020, so not that long ago, all things considered, especially from the vintage years that we've been seeing recently from John Solberg. This week, we feature longtime listener and supporter of this show, a competitive barbecue pitmaster, and a barbecue TV contestant, Sylvie Curry from A Lady of Q, from Ramona, California, or Pomona, California, one of those. You might remember that back then, in the Septembers of 2020s, we were in the teeth of the pandemic, and everybody was watching everything we could possibly watch to pass the time. And remember, there were things like the Tiger King that reigned supreme back then. Remember the Tiger King? Everybody watched it, don't lie. Well, Barbecue Showdown also made its debut roughly 6 months after the Tiger King on Netflix, and it was quite a hit. Subsequent seasons have followed. We've talked about those. But Sylvie Curry and our friend Rashid Phillips were really standout stars and contestants on that first season. So if you missed all of this and you want to hear about her account of the experience and you want to hear the best moments show this coming Friday, and oh, by the way, since it's on Netflix, you can go search Barbecue Showdown if you're new to barbecue and grilling and you're new to this show. You didn't know anything about it until 30 seconds ago. You can go to Netflix and you can search BBQ Showdown. And season 3 is out. And there's obviously season 2 before that. And then the one we're talking about here, season 1, with Sylvie, who made it quite far, and Rashid, who made it all the way until the end, but he didn't win, I don't believe. And I believe a lot of people still think that there was a jobbing going on in that regard as well. But we're not here to spread conspiracy. We're not here to spread conspiracy theories on this show, or conspiracy theories. You can subscribe to the show, and that's the only way you can get the Best Moments show, by the way, by visiting thebbqcentralshow.com/subscribe. And don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or segment again that has been lost in the archives, you can email our pal John Solberg what you would like to hear, and he'll do his best to meet your expectation. And you can email John, by the way, at jon@thebbqcentralshow.com. That's jon@thebbqcentralshow.com. Pete in New York City is writing into the show. Greg, I don't know if you're taking nominations for Guest of the Year or not, but I think Robert Moss fits the bill in 2024. So much entertaining content, so much educational content. I've always been a fan of his, but this year he has reached a new level on your show, and I absolutely love it. Podcast listener only. Regards, Pete. Pete, I agree. As I look back through the past 9 months of the year, and I guess that would be 8 months of the year at this point, it's hard to argue who has brought more new educational / entertaining content month in and month out than Robert Moss, robertfmoss.com. Talking a lot about Southern barbecue and the histories and the advancements and where did this come from and where did that come from and how did this grow out to here? How did it come back into the South? Few doing it as well on any platform as Robert Moss is doing it here on this show, no less. So, Pete, thank you for noticing that, number one. And I echo your sentiments. Robert Moss doing a bang-up job here in 2024. Already in the Barbecue Hall of Fame, so I can't put him in. But if I could put him in again, I would certainly do that. By the way, programming note next week, because it is September on the Embedded Correspondent segment, we will be ushering in a new class, the class of the 2024 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. Yes. Remember, one needs only to have been a guest once to be in consideration. I know the emails and phone calls and text messages and instant messages through social are going to be coming hot and heavy from Maddie, Bobby, and Marley, who have all told me on many occasions, we've been on the show, I'm not in the Barbecue Hall of Fame. I get it, but it's not just up to me. Just because I'm your dad doesn't mean you get into the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. Just because you live in this house doesn't mean you earned the right. I'm not in the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. It's my show. All the other embedded correspondents, sans Matt Osman, are in the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. At least one time, I have been a guest on my show, and I am not...
Andrew,
Correct.
you are not the
I'm not in the Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. How can that be? How is this? There are few injustices in this country that are as grave as that. And I'm just stumbling over it as I'm talking about. Wacky. Hey, don't forget, shirt orders are done at the end of the month. So if you want a cool shirt like this, not like this is the shirt, as we talked about in the first hour. $35 for small to extra large, $37 for 2XL, $39 for 3XL, $41 for 4XL, $43 for 5XL. That includes shipping. You have to email me, subject line, shirt promo. Tell me how many shirts you want, and then you can Venmo me the money or send a paper check, and those are the only two ways I'm taking money. So don't ask me if you can drop off cash or do other nonsense. No, the answer is no. Check or Venmo, that's it. No options on the shirt except size. You got your pricing. Hurry, only 2 weeks left, and then it's over with. You'll be left out in the dark. Mike Lang is ready to go. Before we get to him, it's Franklin Barbecue Pits time. By the way, Hartville Hardware is a certified Franklin Barbecue Pit dealer. If you're down there Saturday and you want to see the ins and outs of a Franklin barbecue pit, you want me to walk you around it, come and find me when I'm not interacting with live talent, and I'm happy to give you the walk around. You just bring the checkbook, Polly. What you have with the Franklin pit is a deeply thought out, refined version of the old propane style cookers that are built by Aaron Franklin for his Franklin Barbecue restaurant. The Franklin pit, primarily made of 1/4-inch thick American-made steel. Anything that sees heat, engineered to be incredibly solid, should last at least a century or more if cared for properly. The thickness of the steel guarantees professional-grade heat retention, which is a critical component to making great barbecue. Every Franklin pit is unique unto itself, which includes their own natural markings and its own badge number. Great. Franklin pits can be found at barbecue specialty stores in select regions of the country. If you, the listener, are an owner of such a store, you wish to become a certified Franklin dealer, please visit franklinbbqpits.com and fill out the dealer form to become eligible. If you, the listener of the show, want to own a Franklin pit, but you live in a part of the country that doesn't have a certified Franklin dealer nearby you, fear not. You can visit the same website, franklinbbqpits.com. You can purchase a pit right there. Franklin Pits will ship a Franklin pit right to your driveway. And then it's up to you to figure out where that bad boy is going to live. Great wheels on it, so if you have a lot of cement, don't drag it through the grass. That's going to be painful. If you have a lot of cement or wood decking or what have you, easily wheeled around. Robust, without a doubt, but easily wheeled around. So, get on it now, franklinbbqpits.com. And again, if you're going to be around Hartville on Saturday and you want me to do the walk around with you, you bring the checkbook, I'll bring the knowledge, we will make a deal, and then you'll walk away with a Franklin barbecue pit and be the envy of everybody at Grillfest, which we'll talk about with Mike Lang here in 1 second. Stick around, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the BBQ Central Show.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet. Available in 3 sizes, host of accessories. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or if you're a professional, it's a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. You visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the BBQ Central Show sent you, and then see what magic ensues after that. My guest in the second hour, leading off, is back for another quarterly appearance here in 2024. If you follow him on social media or you visit his website, you're typically delighted at his recipe creations, also his photography and video shooting skills. Brand-wise, continues his association even deeper with industry leader Weber Grills. He wrote that book, One Beer Grilling, if you recall, and he is an inaugural member of the BBQ Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame all the way back in 2018. We welcome our pal Mike Lang to the show. Mike, we have a YouTube poll question of the week, and we're asking everybody this. Have you ever heard of the GrillBot? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did you own a GrillBot?
No. In fact, funny, my future brother-in-law, I think, just bought one, actually. So it's a very timely question.
Oh, no. Wow. He bought one on purpose?
Do you know how much those things
cost?
cost?
Was he tricked? No. What? How much?
It's over $100.
Oh, my God. That's it. We're done. We got to go have an intervention right now. Hopefully he kept his receipt. So I don't know if you are, I don't want to get in the weeds immediately, but that's what we do here. I don't know if you're familiar with the first generation of GrillBot. So 8 years ago, 9 years ago, GrillBot was originally put into the market, probably around the time that the HPBA Expo typically takes place, March, April timeframe. And I was getting media inquiries from whoever was running PR at GrillBot saying, hey, we've come out with the greatest grill brush ever. You don't have to use any elbow grease. You just stick this thing on your hot grill after you're done cooking and push the button, and magically it works away. It's around the grill and gets you all nice and clean. And then it shuts off all on its own because, of course, everybody was worried about having their battery die as they're forgetting to turn it off after they went inside to eat. All well and good. The problem is you never open the hood up when you go to fire up the grill the next time, and now you have medium rare GrillBot, which you don't want to have. So make sure you tell your brother-in-law if he's spending $130 or whatever it is on GrillBot that he sets a timer or something that reminds him to get the GrillBot out of the grill before he fires it up for the second time. Otherwise, it could be a one and done. But this is a second life for a product that should not have had a first life.
That is sage advice. And yeah, I get, but boy, that is super gimmicky. I think my elbow grease works just fine.
And how long does it take you to clean the grill, Mike? And please take very liberal swings at this.
Maybe 30 seconds if you do it right.
Yeah.
And that's not when you just finish cooking. It's when you close the lid and next time fire it up and get it heated up and do it then. So
we'll talk about the Hartville Hardware Grillfest here in a moment. But I want to get your thoughts on what I see happening at your house. And please tell me to back off if I go past where you feel comfortable talking about this. But I see a little kid who has obviously taken a shine to you, to your cooking gear, probably your tech gear too, because I take a shine to that, but that's a whole level of envy we don't want to talk about at this point. You're obviously fostering his curiosity of live fire cooking. So was he interested in this kind of cooking prior to you showing up?
no, I don't believe so.
How old is
he? Well, he's also 7. He's 7. So
7.
Prior to me being around, he wasn't even on the countertop with a stool. So yeah, it's a pretty recent adventure for him. We love it.
How do you, for folks that have smaller kids then, and you're the adult, you're loving this new live fire adventure that you might be on, or maybe you're a grizzled vet and you have a younger kid at home. How do you bring someone that age along in the cooking scheme of things?
Yeah, I think the minute that they show interest in it, jump on, because you're that age. We can watch the interest change within 7 days. And, you know that as well from being a dad. I mean, it's constantly moving. So if there's any interest whatsoever, jump on it. And that's kind of what we did.
How do you not take over as the expert, as you can see things potentially going downhill, or do you step in to make corrective measures? What's the thought there?
That's a timely question because, I posted that reel about a week ago doing smash burgers. And it was a small, manageable dinner, and he's into it all the way.
Yeah.
So much so that last night he just wanted to know that I'm making dinner. He didn't know what we were having. I go, okay. So
He
did
said,
smash
"I'm
burgers
making
again, but it
dinner?"
was- yeah.
Wow,
And
I
he's
love
like,
it.
what are we having? I go, smash burgers.
Yeah.
So, but this was a little bit more. We had like 11 smash burgers, and the spacing, even on the 36-inch slate, was a lot for his little hands. So I actually had to move in quicker, and he did not like it and said he was good, and then went back inside. So it is a balancing act to not scare them away and be supportive, but he's resilient. He'll be back at it. I'm not worried.
Is it almost, this is okay, so we'll preface this by saying entertainment purposes only. Is there any benefit to just letting him go and getting burned and realizing, oh, okay, maybe this is what he was talking about, or next time I should be attacking it this way, or maybe he says, hey, Mike, I didn't really like the fact that I burned my pinky and middle finger on my right hand when I was making the smash burgers this time around. How can I avoid that?
It's funny, really, the grease, it can be so intense with those things, and I'm always admire his bravery because he digs in there. My son's 26. When he was that age, it wasn't the same battle. He liked to try to cook, but if the flames were too high, he was gone. But Cal is just, he's all in. And I think, to some degree, failure is a good teaching point. But this was just more kind of like Mike anal. It wasn't even like, you're going to get hurt. It's like, we got to really think this through. So we've got a good balancing act, but he's definitely brave, and he likes to do it. I mean, he'll even go and make eggs by himself on the cooktop if nobody will feed him. He constantly eats. So he has that ability. I think it's going to serve him well.
You have a slew of cookers like few do. Does he gravitate towards one specifically, or is he a fan of many?
He likes to do a charcoal dump. He likes to get up the flat top. He likes to turn the knobs on the summit. So he does not discriminate against what we're working on. He just wants to literally have a hand in it.
Hartville Hardware's 10th annual Grillfest is coming this Saturday, if you can believe it. I had Steve McMillen on in the first hour, and we were getting some of the logistics on how he set something up like this and how they've gotten to year 10. He did admit that this was his brainchild, so he birthed it, which will be 10 years ago on Saturday. And as I told a very short story, the first Grillfest I actually cooked in the ribs competition. I was not asked to be a host. I don't think anybody knew who I was at that point. And I finished somewhere wildly in the middle on the pellet cooker, and couldn't figure out how I could have possibly lost a rib competition against such weak competition. I've never cooked a competition in my life, so I have nothing to gauge that at. But my ego told me, if you enter, there's no way you could possibly lose. And of course, I possibly lost right in the heart of mediocrity. So here we are 10 years later, and it has grown into a tremendous event. How many years is this going to make for you?
This is my third one.
Third year. All right. So bigger every year, right?
Yeah.
What are we expecting from a Mike Lang on the main stage, where you get up in front of hundreds, if not thousands, of people ready to take on a Mike Lang, who also wrote One Beer Grilling, by the way?
Well, I'll first say hello to the wonderful MC, Greg Rempe, who I say, Greg is truly, I mention it on the stage every year, and I'll mention it now. Greg is truly the glue that holds it all together. So if there's a reason to come out besides all the barbecue, it's definitely to see Greg in action. So you're not going to miss out. But in terms of what I'm making, Meathead is probably going to roll his eyes at this, but I'm doing beer can chicken. And I'm also doing, yeah, I know, but let me explain myself. Beer can chicken, and I'm also doing grilled corn ribs. So,
great. Great. I have so many questions about, I saw you post it a couple weeks ago, grilled corn. You do the great video, of course. And I just have so many questions about grilled corn ribs, but I've interrupted. So finish first before I go in on that.
Well, I'll segue to this first. Number one, corn ribs are fantastic because you take an ear of corn and you cut it into eighths. You grill it much faster than a whole corn. The best thing about it is you can eat corn with one hand, and you can also clear all of the kernels off of the cob. It's convenient, it's efficient, it's fast, it's good, and I think everybody should do it.
Is it?
Yes.
It seems like nonsense to me. Cutting the corn cob into eighths, grilling the individual ribs, and then you still have to bite it. You don't. I would buy into it 1,000% more if you just put the whole effing thing in your mouth somehow, and you wouldn't get sick doing that. And you could just eat the corn like that. I mean, I understand it's got to stay on the cob in order to stay together and this and that, but I don't know why you would cut it all up aside from aesthetics than to just eat the freaking corn on the cob the normal way, because you got to eat it the same way regardless.
Not everyone eats a whole corn.
Everybody eats all corn. That's the only way you eat it.
Look at your plate next time. Look how many kernels are left on that cob.
Yes,
look
but
how many are left on there. This way, they're going to clear it off.
If this is my cob, then I take what I just ate like a maniac and so gross. I clean my face. Then I take the pointy end, stick it on my plate, butter knife, run it down all the way around or to get the shavings on the plate. Then salt, maybe a little extra butter, a little hot sauce onto the fork and into the pie hole. Is that too OCD? You don't think most people do that?
I'd be on my fourth corn rib heading for dessert while you're still there making some sort of corn hash on your plate.
Corn hash, yes. Thank you. Finally, I was trying to figure out what I would need to call that. It's corn hash. I mean, just because everybody else in my family looks like I'm a maniac when I do it, but I learned it from my dad, so his fault. All right, so corn ribs, probably something we'll have to try. And then beer can chicken in the classical presentation. Do you feel any obligation to say, hey, Meathead says maybe it's unsafe if you do this because you're adding a barrier of, something in the cavity? What's the take on that? And I won't ask you that on Saturday because I want to freak anybody out.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't say unsafe. You just got to be obviously cognizant of what the cooking temperature is. And obviously, you're not going to leave beer in the can. You're going to drink it first and put whatever else in there, water or whatnot, to hold the can down. But, I get beer can chicken still. It may not be the world's greatest chicken. It's really good chicken when it's cooked properly.
Yeah.
But also, it's a part of the presentation and the experience. And so many times we like food because of the experience. If you're trying to get somebody that's watching this demo to actually go buy a grill and make something that they feel they can make that not everyone's doing, that might be beer can chicken, and I'm going to show them the road to do that. It's fun. I can't knock it.
When you are in the Weber tent, what's the menu agenda pushing out samples to the great unwashed?
I actually don't know what the guys have on the list. I know for sure for the demo for me, we'll be actually doing multiple beer can chickens and multiple corn ribs. And I'll give you a small plate and knife and fork so you can have the whole corn experience.
Thank you.
But we'll be doing that. But they've got so much food they cook through every year. It's phenomenal. And I love helping them out.
Anything you're looking forward to specifically as you look through the demos? By the way, I don't know if you heard it or not, but late breaking news from Steve McMillan. Captain Ron has succumbed to pneumonia, and he will not be making the trip up this Saturday. But still, with the Matt Frampton, the BBQ, and yourself, it's quite a live cooking demo in its own right.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear about Ron. I know he's really broken up on not being able to make it. Looking super forward to seeing Matt up on the demo stage, and of course Danielle, and of course you, and also a lot of the guys are competing in everything that we've been talking to. It's such a great time. The weather is going to be phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
and it's always a wonderful experience. So if you're even within an hour plus drive in Northeast Ohio, come out. It is truly an amazing event, and Hartville itself is just such a phenomenal store. You could easily get lost in there and then spend way more money than you planned on. So it is the event.
As I say, it is a store that has a full-size house inside the store. And I know people think I'm joking when I say that, but at 300,000 square feet, you have a lot of height and a lot of space, and you can put a house inside of a store, and you can actually walk through it. Concept house. They've actually rebuilt it since we were there the last time. So it's a completely new house inside the store. So if you went through it last year, completely refreshed, tore down to the nuts and bolts, and then put back up. So really excited to go back through there and see what it looks like here. from another Pint Please standpoint, things you're working on, or from a Weber standpoint, things you're working on that we should know about?
Yeah, I mean, Weber work continues. Just creating a ton of content. You'll see it through their Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels and video. I'm also headed up to Chicago next week for continuing work with Ace Hardware Corporate. I'll be doing food for their next broadcast commercial campaign. And I don't know where all the time and the days go since I retired 3 months ago. So life is good.
Are you busier now than you were keeping creeping marauders off the street?
Oddly, yes. It's kind of insane. I've been doing some one-off catering stuff too, and it's just I love it. I don't miss work at all, sadly. But this has been fantastic. But yeah, it's keeping me super, super busy.
Favorite beer at the moment?
No. A little homage to where we're headed. It's from Great Lakes Brewing Company. Their Nosferatu Double Red IPA. It's a seasonal. It's the holidays. It's got a wonderful kick to it. Fantastic. Pick it up.
What's the ABVs on that?
Knowing me, it's over 8.
No way.
8. Actually, 8% on the nose.
Wow. That's a big beer.
I've got some friends that love it. Yeah. Beer's double digits. I've got friends always laugh when I come over for initial beer and I pop something out and they guess it's probably over 10%. And it usually is.
Do you have a lot of beer? Like, what's the highest ABV on a beer that you have?
Sam Adams Utopias. It's probably more borderline port. It's non-carbonated. It's around 26%.
Oh.
They release it every, 4 or 5 years.
26%?
It's really good. Yeah, it's more port wine territory.
Yeah. Wow.
But it is phenomenal.
All right. Well, I have a selection of great cigars to enjoy once we get done with what we're going to be doing Saturday as we decompress from a day's events over at the hotel. So looking forward to that. In the meantime, if you're going to be around the general area of Hartville Hardware or make plans to be around the general area of Hartville Hardware on Saturday from 10 to about 4, Mike Lang will be up there doing live demos from Another Pint Please. Maybe he'll bring his books and he can sign them and take pictures with you and all that fun stuff. Mike, always appreciate the time, and we'll see you Saturday.
Greg, thanks so much. I will see you then.
All right. Mike Lang right there. Drive safe. And we will see him here in a matter of days. And then we will interact during live demo. So if you like this interaction, can you imagine what it's like when you put us in the same tent and we get to interact live and in person? Wow. The mind is blown. Daniel Vaughn is ready to go. We'll get to him here in just 1 second. I'll talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers. Are you ready to score that perfect 180 on chicken, ribs, pork, brisket? Big Papa Smokers has you covered with the best rubs, sauces, and injections in the business. For a limited time, use promo code BBQ Central and get 10% off all Big Papa Smokers products. That's right, 10% off secret ingredients the championship teams swear by and win with weekend in and weekend out. Don't miss out on this incredible offer, whether you're aiming for your next GC or next barbecue contest, or you're just looking to take your barbecue and grilled foods to the next level of awesomeness. Remember, your food just got better with Big Papa. Offer valid now through October 31st. Promo code BBQ Central when you visit BigPapaSmokers.com. And we are continuing to wish our pal Sterling Ball well as he is recovering. I won't get into the depths of that, but glad he's still around and glad he is recovering and on the mend. BigPapaSmokers.com, code BBQ Central for 10% off all Big Papa Smokers products. The barbecue editor for Texas Monthly stands by. Stick around.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
I want to thank Mike Lang for joining us last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by McAuliffe Cigars. Step into the world of McAuliffe Cigars, where each blend is a chapter in a grand tale of craftsmanship and passion. The portfolio is a symphony of flavors, each note carefully composed to create an unforgettable Nicaraguan smoking experience. You visit McAuliffeCigars.com and use the locator to find a retailer near you, and then make sure they're stocking black and blue. And the red, I believe, was just released as well, so check those out. Helping me close the show tonight, the barbecue editor for Texas Monthly Magazine. You also see him on this show quarterly, visits throughout the year as we talk about things going on in Texas and in the barbecue world in general. By the way, he is a member of the inaugural 2018 BBQ Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame class. I am, of course, talking about our pal Daniel Vaughn. Daniel, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody before we get going here tonight, including all guests, which is this. Have you ever heard of the Grillbot? Yes or no? I don't have you, Daniel. You're on mute. Still nothing. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You might have to reconnect in order for that to change up. We can wait. By the way. Yeah, just close out and come back in. Full close down. 59% of you that are voting right now have heard of the Grillbot, which means 41% of you haven't. I don't know why at the end, when I hit end poll, it does appear that I'm always 1% short of 100. That's annoying. It's another reason to hate YouTube. But they hate me right back just as long. How about now?
I'm here with you.
All right. I got you. All right, let's try it again. Have you ever heard of something called the Grillbot? Yes or no?
All right, so is that the automatic brush thing for your grill that you just sort of turn on and let it clean?
Yes. Obviously,
Yeah,
you have.
I've
Yes.
heard of the Grillbot.
Yes, 59%.
Seen it in action.
Were you highly impressed or highly offended as a human man?
Yeah, I don't. I guess my grill just doesn't get that dirty. I didn't see really the need to have it going all by itself.
Did you know that this is second generation Grillbot? I think 7 or 8 years ago it came out the first time after an HPB Expo or something like that. I was just telling Mike Lang last segment that I was even getting inundated by whoever was running PR for Grillbot at that time saying, you got to have the CEO on. They just did great reviews and got accolades at the HPB Expo. And of course, everybody put it in their grill that bought it, and then they forgot to take it out of their grill when they fired it up the second time, and now you got well done Grillbot.
Well, I'm wondering if that same expo, did they have someone at a grill with the Grillbot and someone right next to them with the grill brush? Just,
that would be so great.
Just have a little race.
Oh, they're 129 robot or this $20 hand spun thing. Oh, I'm done too. By the way, I didn't forget it. And, because also when they're showing you the demo of the Grillbot racing across the kettle grill is usually what they have it in, or a rectangle gas grill. The lid's always open. But in the directions, it says, close the top. You can have it on a cooling down grill, and it'll shut off after the thing's clean, which means it's set on a timer, and maybe it's clean or maybe it isn't. And then you forget about it. And then you cook it the next time. So bad way to screw yourself out of $100+
Well, maybe if you wear like a hard hat and safety goggles, you can operate it with the lid open. That way you don't forget about it.
That's right. And you don't get any schmutz kicked in your eye as well.
Mm-hmm.
You have a list. I love lists.
Yes.
I think perhaps maybe nobody in this industry creates lists like Texas Monthly and Daniel Vaughn does. Puts people in a tizzy in both the good and bad ways. If you're high on lists from Texas Monthly, and if you're not on the list, puts you in a different kind of a tizzy. But this is a different list than perhaps we've ever seen before coming from you. So what is the list that we're going to be talking about tonight?
Before we put it out, I hadn't seen anybody really undertake a list like this, which is I went all over the country looking for the best Texas style barbecue outside of Texas. So Texas Monthly is well known for the Texas Monthly Top 50, all 50 barbecue joints within Texas. We do it every 4 years. And, let's just say maybe I got a little bored. Also, saw the opportunity to have Texas Monthly pay for me to fly all over the country and try barbecue everywhere. So I sold them on the idea, and I really started about 16 months ago.
Wow.
You were part of the search as well. You were there for
right.
some of it in Cleveland. And yeah, I went and tried as many barbecue joints as I could outside the state, doing Texas style barbecue to come back and do a top 50 outside of Texas.
Texas in its own right, a huge state, as you know. However, an additional 49 states are 48 surrounding Texas. How do you look at each state? And, a lot of these are big in their own right as well, and say, okay, I need to pair out X barbecue restaurants immediately because maybe they're not Texas-based, but maybe you have still a strong number of Texas-style barbecue restaurants. So how do you decide which ones you're going to go to? Because you can't possibly go to all Texas-style barbecue restaurants in all states to evaluate.
Yeah, that's right. I never knew I knew I was never going to be able to get to every one of them. So, there are a few things that I used to narrow the list down. As you first mentioned, it's got to be Texas style. So there's that. I wasn't going to try the best whole hog barbecue out there, the best pork shoulders or Memphis ribs or whatnot. The other thing was it needed to be a restaurant that had predictable hours and a set location. Because I was creating this list, a nationwide list that is a piece of service journalism that people from all over the country are hopefully going to use. And I didn't want to have them having to search like a Facebook page for where this food truck or that pop-up might be this week or next week. So there's that. I was also a lot more selective about the places I went based on what the food looked like. There's plenty of photos that you can share from barbecue joints really all over the country and lots that you can look through. And so there are some places that didn't make it because it didn't look like they really had a chance at all, just from the barbecue that, other customers had taken a photo of. More importantly, the barbecue photos that the owners maybe had shared on their Instagram pages. And, the list grew as I was doing this search. People would send in recommendations either while I was in a location and also send in plenty of recommendations once they learned sort of what I was doing, which that news was broke here on this show.
Absolutely.
That I was going to do this list. So, even up until like the day that I released the list, I had mentioned several times that I was undertaking this search and was very upfront about the purpose of it as well. And was asking my social media followers, like, who would be interested in a nationwide ranking of the best barbecue outside of Texas? People are like, please do. And I then released the link later, just like a few minutes later. So there was definitely a hunger for this sort of list. I know that Southern Living, Robert Moss, does a list of the best barbecue in the South, which is certainly limiting regionally. And there's just so much good barbecue all over the country. I thought it was worthwhile to look at it, outside the South, outside of Texas. And, Texas barbecue was the easy choice, obviously, for me and my job and the magazine I work for, but also, as I argue in the piece, it is American barbecue now. I mean, if you're looking at the barbecue joints that open across the country, for a barbecue joint not to have brisket now on the menu is a major surprise. Whereas even 10 years ago, I think it was surprising when a place, say in the Carolinas, which have quite a few spots on this list, had brisket on the menu at all.
Could a owner of one of these joints prettied up some pictures? Like you said, you could discount some, especially if the website owner had crappy pictures. You're like, well, if their pictures are crappy and they're not being uplifted by any social media that is also, and that we're just going to skip that place. Can people get you in the door if they would have went out of their way to make real sexy photographs, but their barbecue sucked?
Yeah,
You
that
feel
certainly
cheated?
happened. Do I feel cheated? No, they're good at marketing, and they chose the right photos. Whether the question though is like from an owner's standpoint, like, do you want customers to come into your restaurant and be disappointed? So don't you want the photos that you share of your barbecue to be an accurate representation of what people are actually going to get? Otherwise, they might be sorely disappointed.
I have to say, as I perused the list, I am 100% shocked that Ohio, by the way, your home state, did not make the list.
That's
So
right.
the obvious follow-up question is, why do you hate Ohio so much? Go ahead.
Had a really rough childhood.
Join the club, pal.
No, I mean, there was a place in Medina that looked really good, and right before I came, they had switched over from being a restaurant to changing it up to serving from a food truck on weekends at various locations. Joe's Barbecue in Kent that I went to, I was really impressed with the brisket, not so much with a few other items. And also they do themselves a great disservice as far as the judging of their barbecue. There's nowhere to eat it on site. You've got to like drive around and search for a spot to sit down and eat it. And so, yeah, you're going to have to travel with it to be able to enjoy it. There's literally not a table, a chair, nothing on that lot in which to enjoy it. There was a spot, Just Queuing, down in Cincinnati, that I enjoyed, but just the brisket itself wasn't quite there, and neither were the ribs. So yeah, I tried. I went to several spots in Ohio. Hoggy's Barbecue in Columbus was another one. A few good items, a few duds. That was the one owner that reached out to me, truly curious about my thoughts and really wanted. He requested some real honest feedback, and which I gave to him. So
The guy from Landmark didn't reach back out to you and ask for real feedback? Like he was. Look, I got to tell everybody.
We went to Landmark together.
I'm in the
yes.
restaurant together. Your kids were there too. Great to meet them. And the owner comes out, and it's like Tom Cruise is in the restaurant, except it's not Tom Cruise. It's Daniel Vaughn.
It is the host of the BBQ Central Show.
No. It was you. And he's like all gay. Oh, my God. We thought maybe this and that. Or I don't know if you reached out and said you might be stopping by or whatever. But like he was there, and he was so excited that you are in his establishment getting ready to eat his food. But in the end, what was your honest rank of? I think we had like brisket and maybe some of the pulled pork or whatever, ribs too, I think. What did you think? Or if you could remember.
Yeah, we had some ribs. We had some pork belly as well.
Pork belly, yeah.
Yeah, we had some dry turkey. Most of it I would put in the mediocre I think all of it I would put in the mediocre category. I don't think there was really any one thing there that really stuck out as a great bite of barbecue. And that's why Landmark didn't make the list. They did provide excellent hospitality. I'm certain that most guests do not leave there with 6 2-ounce mini bottle tasters of their finest selection of bourbons, but it did not sway my opinion about their barbecue whatsoever. They might be capable of doing some really great barbecue from time to time, but the day we visited it wasn't one of those days.
When you look at the top 5 of the list, what are they, and why do they achieve the top 5 rank?
Yeah, well, one of the last places I went to visit was Palmyra Barbecue in Charleston, South Carolina, and they're number 1 on the list. And I really wanted to make sure I wasn't suffering from a recency bias of, I just remembered having this great meal, and some of the other meals that I'd had were 16 months prior. So I really evaluated it item by item, and I didn't even eat brisket there. They do a smoked beef item every day. The day that I visited, it was not brisket. It was not beef ribs. It was beef cheeks. and it was truly one of the finest smoked beef cheeks I'd ever had. With all apologies to Leroy and Lewis. Leroy and Lewis in Austin makes a damn fine smoked beef cheek. The one at Palmyra, I don't know if they just picked the right one or if they've got some special magic in their process, but it was just the most perfectly melting, tender, unctuous piece of beef. It was so good. It really just that was really the story with everything. All of their sides, they are this great combination of Puerto Rican flavors, South Carolina style whole hog barbecue, and Texas style barbecue. So they've got the whole hog with a sofrito mop sauce from Puerto Rico. They've got the hash and rice made from the smoked hog's head, which is very South Carolina. And then they've got, Texas ribs, Texas smoked sausages, the smoked beef element every day, as I mentioned. And then the guava cheesecake made by the owner's mother, just to set things off.
Not that you're looking for confirmation of number one, Palmyra barbecue, but Robert Moss just released the Best New Barbecue Joints 2024.
Yes, he did.
Look at this. Palmyra barbecue, number one as well.
Boom.
So
yes,
here you have the
definitely
two most respective barbecue editors in the country. Well, I mean, you're the real barbecue editor. He's contributing. And you both agree that Palmyra is the one that is outside of Texas.
Yes, and I had eaten, so Hector Garate is the owner and pitmaster, and I had eaten his barbecue at the Texas Monthly Barbecue Festival. He came in and cooked with Koi Barbecue, and they did a little collaboration on some whole hog, and it was fantastic there. I was glad to see that it translated well into the restaurant.
Rate Barb's BQ for me.
Rate it?
Yeah, rate it.
Oh, I mean, wow. It was, when I ate there, I was really just giddy with excitement of how much flavor they pulled out of each item. The turkey, just the rub on the turkey. It wasn't, so often smoked turkey, you basically just taste black pepper and smoke, and all the flavors in their rub actually came out in it. The lime zest on the ribs makes it look sort of gimmicky, like maybe this is a garnish for color, but the flavor, the acidic bite that came, they balanced that well. It almost reminded me of competition barbecue, where you've got these, very salty ribs, sweetness in the glaze, and then you've got this acidic element to counteract it all. But perfectly cooked, just spot on there. The lamb chops, amazing. The green spaghetti, instead of a mac and cheese, it's got that same sort of homey feel to it, but rather than making a cheese sauce, the spaghetti is mixed with a sauce made of pureed sour cream, cream cheese, poblanos, jalapenos, cilantro, all comes together in the sauce.
Wow.
Makes for like a really warm spices in a mac and cheese sort of feel to it. Yeah, I mean, Barb's is fantastic, and it was no surprise that they made Bon Appetit's list for best new restaurants in the country. Glad to see that they're now open on Saturday and Sunday. And I talked with Chuck, the pit master, and she said that she's working to train up the staff to be able to open on Fridays here in the near future.
In 2 weeks, I'm going to be back in Houston. Would I want to go to brisket and rice over Truth Barbecue?
It depends if you've been to Truth Barbecue.
I have twice.
Okay, then yeah, go try brisket and rice. Truth Barbecue is fantastic. I think it's really the best in the area. But if you've already been there and experienced that and had their barbecue, then go try brisket and rice. I think they do a great job, and you can certainly get something that's a little different than your usual barbecue platter. They do brisket and rice really two different ways. They make just really great fluffy white rice with slices of smoky brisket layered over top and some of their barbecue sauce. Very simple. And then they do a completely different dish of fried rice with Chinese sausage and chunks of brisket, some of their barbecue sauce mixed into the fried rice. So you try those side by side. Yeah, it's a nice meal.
Who's got the better banana pudding?
Truth. I mean, but it's Truth makes
So
great
good.
banana pudding.
Oh yeah.
They make really great banana pudding, but they're so well known for their cakes, and they have such a variety. These big 3-layer cakes with chocolate and white cake with coconut. I mean, they have a banana cream cake if you want the best of both worlds, with the banana pudding flavor. So their cakes are usually the showstopper, and so everybody goes for the cake. So it's usually on your third or fourth visit that you finally get to the banana pudding, and it is it's masterful.
Yeah, I would eat it by the gallon or the 5-gallon bucket, and there's no turnoff switch for me. What are you working on over Texas Monthly we should be on the lookout for over the next 30, 40 days?
Well, I mean, I'm hoping to get some feedback from places in Hawaii and Alaska that feel left out, maybe Puerto Rico as well, so that I just must go visit those places to truly complete my search across the country. But I need some good reader feedback from those places to maybe lobby the folks at Texas Monthly to let that happen. But I'm working on a couple of stories right now. I talked to the Department of Labor today to get really some in-depth understanding of tipping policy and why several barbecue joints have run afoul of those tipping policies and been fined pretty heavily for some of their back wages. Black's Barbecue being a big one, Hard 8 Barbecue, Tejas Barbecue and Tomball is currently in litigation with the Department of Labor. Valentina's was on a payment plan, but Valentina's is closed for good. And so that, that one's just no longer an active case. But yeah, there's been some real big misunderstandings between ownership and how they're supposed to take tips out of the tip pool. And I'm writing an article to help get some of these small business owners a greater understanding of how that tipping policy works, especially as they start to grow their restaurants, so they can do it right and not have the Department of Labor coming after them. I'm also working on a article about weak tea. Iced tea is one of those things that I drink along with my barbecue at nearly every barbecue joint I go to. Love a good glass of iced tea, but so many barbecue joints taste a whole lot more like ice than tea. And so I've targeted some places that do it really, really well and talked to them about why they do it so well, why it's important to them, and how they what vendors they use, what sort of equipment they use to get a really good glass of iced tea.
Is it a stretch for me to speculate that they actually care, and it's probably way more homemade in those ones that are really doing it well versus the ones that aren't?
I think it's the way that they tinker with the machinery that they have, right? It's so I made Thai tea at home. If you follow the directions on the box for Thai tea, you're going to get the weakest, blandest Thai tea you can imagine. But if you boil the heck out of them, squeeze them out, and basically overstuff the water with tea bags, then you're going to get that good tea flavor. And I think that the places that make really great tea, they just, they use a lot more tea bags. They let it steep for longer, and they actually care about the tea bags that they're purchasing to get that flavor. And yeah, they make, they're not making weak tea. So I'm happy to drink it.
All right. So tips and tea are stories that you're working on. So we'll be on the
and
lookout
barbecue.
for those.
I'm writing about barbecue.
Of course,
too.
always barbecue. No doubt,
Yes.
That's what pays the bills.
I got a trip planned down to Austin. I did 2 days last week down in the Houston area, and I got a article on Damon's True Texas Barbecue down in Wharton, Texas, southwest of Houston. That'll be coming out probably tomorrow. Good place.
I gotta ask you a question here. Make sure I.
All right. Oh, he's getting quiet.
I have
This
to
is a secret.
I have to redo my sound here so you can hear this. So you're going to Austin. So one of my close pals is Aaron Franklin, one of your close pals as well. Do you know this guy outside of barbecue?
Aaron Franklin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever heard,
I know Aaron outside of barbecue.
You ever heard this before?
That must be him on the drums.
Guitar.
Oh.
Do you know about this group?
I have heard about this group. I know that, long ago before barbecue, that he was truly a touring musician.
Yes.
He was out on the road quite a lot. It was actually one of his tour buddies that introduced him to Louis Miller Barbecue, which was one of the formative places in him gaining his love for barbecue and truly an understanding of what it took to make really great barbecue. And just the fact that great barbecue is a whole lot different than just the average barbecue you get.
I was setting him up for a sound check, and he had this magnificent microphone. And I had sent him one of mine, like one of my, standbys for people that don't have whatever. And he had this magnificent microphone, and we were talking about whatever. And I said, "What the deal? What the hell with that microphone?" He's like, "Well, with all the sound stuff." I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, I know what that means to me, but what does that mean to a guy that cooks barbecue? And he said, "Oh, well, with the band." I was like, okay. I'm like, what band? And so we get to talking. He's the lead guitarist and the music. There's a fancy word
mixer.
For it. No, there's a much more fancy term for mixer. But he crap, whatever. So he plays the lead guitar. He's the one that's in charge of all the music. And I'm like, oh. Like, who knows about this? Nobody knows about it. Like, do you play out? Like, oh, yeah, we play out. I'm like, so, and nobody realizes that the guy playing guitar on stage is the guy that makes arguably the best barbecue in the state of Texas. And he's like, oh, I guess not. So I said, are you on Spotify? And he said, yeah. So the name of the group is Zeus Apollo. They only have one offering on Spotify at the moment. Most of them are kind of like, But I really like the first track. No One's Town has such a Foo Fighter kind of that like late 90s, early 2000s feel to it. And, I mean, he's evidently a very accomplished guitar player. I mean, it sounds really good, and they did a pretty good job with this record. But if you're interested...
Zeus Apollo.
I'll send you the link after we get off
Okay.
tonight. You can
very
check it
masculine.
out. Yes, very masculine. Do you know where Zeus Apollo comes from by chance?
I mean, they're both from Greece, right?
Well, yes, but of course, Aaron Franklin, not probably a Greek mythology expert, named after his dog, Zeus Apollo, which is named after the two dogs in Ghostbusters, Zeus and Apollo. How about that?
All right.
Yeah,
I like it.
That seems to line up more with a personality of Aaron Franklin versus Greek mythology. But
yeah, it does. It certainly does.
All right. Well, I'll send you the link.
I'll have to give that a listen on.
You can,
Spotify, Zeus Apollo.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you like the first song, there's a good chance you probably like the rest of the 7. It seems like an EP effort, not like a full length, but we'll get your take on it here. So we're talking with Daniel Vaughn, by the way. TMBBQ.com, his website. Keep an eye out for new barbecue stories, and of course the tipping story and the tea story that's going to be coming out as well. And we'll catch him one more time before the end of the year. Daniel, always appreciate the time, and we'll see you in December.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Daniel Vaughn right there. Excellent. See? Every once in a while, I might be one up on the guy that's got his finger on the pulse of Texas barbecue. Although, technically speaking, has nothing to do with barbecue. It is music. But music and barbecue go together. I could argue it either way. TMBBQ.com is his website. You can find him on the blower at BBQ Snob. We'll go ahead and wrap up this second hour and show right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And once again, we thank Daniel Vaughn for joining us for a little bit of an extended segment as we're 5 minutes past the top of the hour. Once again, his information, tmbbq.com and at BBQ Snob on social media. Also, one more time before we get going here tonight, if you like this really cool shirt, this color specifically and that setup, you're in luck because you can order one through the end of the month. All you have to do is send me an email, greg@thebbqcentralshow.com, and in the subject line, put shirt promo, and then I will tell me what size you want. And remember, they start at $35. They go small, extra large, small, 2 extra large, $35, and then $2 increment increases, 2XL, 3XL, 4XL, and 5XL. You can pay by Venmo, and you can pay by personal check. That check has to clear. All payments need to be in before the order is placed. If the order is placed and you have not paid in full, you're not going to get a shirt. I'm just getting it all out in the open right now, as I have the last number of weeks. Good. Well, that's it. Don't forget, join us this coming Saturday out in Hartville, Ohio, at Hartville Hardware for the 10th annual Grillfest. Mike Lang will be there, and Steve McMillan will be there. BBQ will be there. Matt Frampton will be there. And unfortunately, Captain Ron will not be there, but we'll see who fills in for him. All the way back in the first hour, it was the aforementioned Steve McMillan, buyer over at Hartville Hardware, and the Grillzone there. And then we followed that up with a visit from Wes Wright, cookoutnews.com. And in the second hour, we talked with Mike Lang from Another Pint Please. He will also be at Hartville, as I just mentioned. And then closing it out with Daniel Vaughn, editor at our barbecue editor at Texas Monthly, tmbbq.com, his website. Big show planned for you next week. Hopefully, we also have a winner of a Grill Fest. Second hour's huge embedded correspondent with new embedded correspondent Matt Osmond sitting in for his first time as we generate a new class for BBQ Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame. So how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. And until next Tuesday, if I don't see you Saturday, but until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe saying, Shalom!
Hi, this is Bobby Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to BBQ Central.